everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in trans care. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about zero depth vaginoplasty or vulvoplasty or no depth vaginoplasty, shallow depth vaginoplasty, limited depth, and other names this procedure tends to go by. Essentially, what zero depth vaginoplasty is a vaginoplasty where an individual doesn't really get an internal canal. So it tends to be a procedure that outwardly everything looks identical to any kind of depth-oriented vaginoplasty, with the exception that there is no canal for any kind of penetrative intercourse of any kind, whether penetrative intercourse via other body parts or penetrative intercourse via any kind of sexual toys, dildos, for example, or vibrators. This procedure has started to become quite popular today, and I think primarily it's quite popular today because it has, my understanding is that it has lesser risks. Also, as you may be aware, a lot of people don't really have to deal with dilation. They don't have to do a lot of dilation post-surgery, and then they don't have to do dilation throughout their life. So as a result, a lot of trans women tend to go for this procedure. It's also very popular procedure for trans women that are older, that are not interested in sexual intercourse of any kind, or I would say penetrative intercourse of any kind, or individuals who had a very severe sexual trauma and are absolutely not interested again in penetration of any kind. Now, a lot of people ask me what my opinion about zero depth vaginoplasty, and I wanted to do this video to share with you my professional expertise and what I tend to share with individuals I work with. First and foremost, as with any other procedures out there, it is completely up to you to decide what's right and what works best for you in terms of where you're at in your life, what are your future goals, what your future plans are. Don't ever let anybody make the decision for you. Certainly, it is important to ask other people, professional and so on and so forth, or other people who have had procedure, to get a better understanding so that way you can best inform your decision-making process, but always make your own personal decision. Having said that, I have a sexuality background, and as a result, I also understand how important sexuality is to us in our lives. Because of that, I tend to always tell individuals who are going through any kind of surgical procedure to make sure that the procedure will result in as much preservation of sexual function as possible. That's, I think, absolutely is important. Whether you're going to decide to use it or not, or utilize it or not, is another matter. But to have that option, I think, is very, very important. So for that reason, for individuals who are especially young, I don't see any reason at all why somebody would get zero depth vaginoplasty. I also don't see a reason for a lot of trans women whose sexual preferences are women to also not get vaginoplasty with canal and to opt out for zero depth. Because even though you may think that your preference is women, meaning you most likely will not be penetrated by a male genitalia, well, you may figure out later on that you are interested in being penetrated in other ways. For example, like I said before, sexual toys, a dildo, a vibrator. You may want to be penetrated by a finger or by a hand. So it's really up to you. For that reason, it's really important to preserve sexuality as much as possible. So unless it's somebody who is older and really absolutely certain they're not interested in penetrative intercourse of any kind, then I can see how it's a really good decision for them. Unless it's somebody who had so much severe trauma. But even then, you can have vaginoplasty with canal and not necessarily engage in penetrative intercourse. Although I can understand how it can be very traumatic for those individuals to even dilate on their own. So that's something also seriously to consider. But if somebody is young, I don't even think that's something that should be offered, in my opinion, as a procedure for young individuals. I think, coming from a gay and sexual background, I err on the side of trying to preserve your sexual function to as much as possible. because sexuality is fluid. It tends to change for a lot of us, especially for people who go through transition. A lot of different feelings tend to wake up once you go through transition. As a result, you never know how your sexuality may change. So you really don't want to find yourself being interested or desiring penetrative intercourse, only to realize that you can't because 5 years ago you decided to have zero depth vaginoplasty. Again, by no means I think zero depth vaginoplasty is a bad procedure. I think it's a great procedure for a lot of individuals who are absolutely sure that's what they want to get and really certain. I just also seen a lot of people who gotten this procedure and who regret getting this procedure because their sexuality has changed or because now they're interested in penetrative intercourse. So, in my view, in my 2 cents in the matter is that, you know, optimally get the procedures that will give you the best sexual function. Whether you're going to decide to use it or not is going to be up to you. But that's going to be my 2 cents. Let me know in comment below if you are thinking about zero depth vaginoplasty. What are your reasons or what are your rationale for getting it? If you thought about it, if you think it's a bad idea, what are your thoughts on that as well? And in general, just comment below and share what your ideas are on this procedure. It's a procedure that is growing in popularity. I see a lot more people getting this procedure, and I think it's also important to have a conversation about sexual function and how that sexual function may change later on in somebody's life. So again, just a cautionary note that today we may not feel like penetrative intercourse is for us. 2, 3, 5 years from now, you may want that, and not being able to have that accessibility or that option, I think would be really devastating. So, you know, consider that when you're making a decision. If you are thinking about zero depth vaginoplasty, I think that's really important factor to factor into your decision-making process. So comment below, let me know. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.